This course isn't about traditional SEO, but there are still some important rules to follow when you embed videos on your site, and I'm going to go over them here. Any video hosting service provides an embed code like this. You can use this to place the video on your site by cutting and pasting it into the code of your page. But when you do that, you need to consider your goals and keep some best practices in mind. When I say consider your goals, what I mean is think about what you want from having the video on your site. Do you want more people coming to your site, or do you just want more viewers for the video? That'll make more sense in a moment. The first rule is include only one video per page. Don't have a long list of videos on a single page unless they're all very closely related, like they're part of one training course, because it'll be very hard to indicate to search engines what that page is about. Make sure you include a transcript of the video on that page, or at least a very complete description. Don't use an iframe-based embedding tool on your site. If you have the option, and you should, all the paid hosting services I've talked about here do offer that option, then you don't want to use it. On YouTube, that will mean using the quote old embed code. Why? Because this will let you add things like rich snippets to your video later on, and because Google appears to have a very hard time crawling content in an iframe. That's beyond the scope of this course right now, but it's good to retain that flexibility and just to ensure that Google can see that the video is actually embedded in the page. So if you use the iframe, that may not happen. Make sure the video embed code is available on your page so people can put it onto their sites, that they can embed it elsewhere. And finally, if you're being picky and you really want to make sure that only your page ranks for the video, give those other people the iframe version of the embedding code. What that will do is ensure that they put the video on their site and people can view it, but Google will only recognize the video on your site. Now, there's other more traditional SEO steps you can take. For example, you want to make sure that you provide social media sharing buttons on the page, because those kinds of shares can, first of all, just spread the word about the video, which will spread discussion and probably the kinds of citations that will improve rankings. And second, because there's some evidence that social media sharing is used as a search ranking signal. You'll want to optimize the title tag of that page. So just like you make sure your key phrase shows up in the title for your video, you want to make sure your key phrase shows up in the title for the page itself. And then if you're really working hard on optimization, you might look at linking from a prominent place in your site's navigation to that video page. I'm not going to go into the specifics of all of this, just kind of keep it in mind as you're embedding content on your site. If you host your video on YouTube and it does well in the rankings, it's 99% likely the YouTube page is going to rank instead of your own. You should still take all the steps that I just talked about. Your page may appear in the conventional rankings like it does for me here, and then the page on my blog that has a video embedded in it is appearing here. But just understand that the YouTube page is probably going to get most of the ranking and most of the clicks. If you really, really want your page to be the only thing that ranks for the video so that all the traffic for the video goes to your website, then you want to use a third-party service like Vimeo, and you need to block the video on the third-party hosting site so that Google can't go to that hosting site and crawl the video there. So in this example, you'll see I have a webinar and it's embedded on Vimeo and it's embedded on my own website, but you can see they're both ranking. That's because I did not block the video. In this case, I have a video that is embedded on the Portent site, and it's also hosted on Vizar, but the Vizar page is blocked from being crawled. So the video page from our site is what ranks and nothing else. So just keep these tips in mind. This is a little advanced for a video SEO basics course, but you're going to embed video on your site. And if you do kind of keep these rules in mind, you'll probably make sure that you retain flexibility later for additional optimization that you want to do. So just summarizing really quickly, when you embed a video on your site, consider your goals. If you want lots of traffic to your site, you'll want to make sure that your page is the only one that ranks and do some of the things in here I've talked about, like blocking the video on other sites. You'll also want to make sure that your page is highly optimized. If you're more concerned just about getting lots of viewers, then that's not as critical. And you can put the video up on YouTube and other hosting services and just let the rankings fall where they may. After this video, go take a look at how you are treating videos on your website. Are you putting one video to a page? Do you have transcripts with them? Those are two very easy upgrades. Are you using the right kind of embed code? Do you have sharing buttons around them? Take a look at all that and see what actions you can take to improve your rankings.